And the BBC's main 10 o'clock news bulletin announced a significant casualty of the coronavirus this week. What was that?
I think it's Love Island, isn't it?
Exactly.
So Love Island isn't going to go ahead this year, but I believe that if you hold your head close to the microwave, you can still burn through the same amount of brain cells.
So this is the news that the government are going to begin virus contact tracing. There are some fears that the contact tracing app could help the government to harvest our personal data. Doesn't bother me, said Eamon Holmes from the safety of his recently constructed tinfoil bungalow. On Sunday, Boris Johnson is expected to lay out a menu of options, and that could be the last menu you see until 2021. According to reports in the papers, Boris was going to be accompanied at his Sunday broadcast by Michael Gove, but they were worried that people would think, fuck me, Wilf's an ugly baby. Paul and Chris, here's yours.
Okay, so Chris, what they're showing us is a tiger in the wild looking around. I think he's in the wild, and he's walking through, and there's some armed police, very heavily armed police, running towards the tiger. There was a story about a tiger that was discovered in Kent the weekend, and so the police were called by a startled onlooker, and they rushed to the scene to find that the tiger was actually a sculpture created by a woman who says it's been there for about 20 years. So everybody had a good laugh, and they took a photograph of it, and everything was all right.
Somebody saw it, obviously thought it was a real tiger, and reported it. And I think it was the same person that reported that outside the chemist, local residents were forcing money into the head of a guide dog.
I was just going to say my cat was fantastically put out. Some other famous cat in Kent hogging the news for a week. He had a hissy fit and retired to his bed hurt. So that's the last we'll hear of him. Oh, he's gone again.
Do you know in Kent, though, you're more likely to be run over by a tiger driving a white van than you are to be eaten by a tiger in a field?
So there's quite a few wildlife parks in Kent, so there's like the population of tigers in Kent is probably higher than you might imagine.
There he goes again, undoing jokes with facts.
I feel as if it's a service I can provide.
Shall we have a look at the reason that 10 armed police officers in a helicopter were dispatched to the Kent countryside? Here it is. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's good, but it's no Chris Whitty. Here's the tiger with some of his new friends.
Well, the tiger's clearly sunbathing, isn't he?
Wouldn't it be funny if while they were having their photo taken, a real tiger came out from a bush and ate them all?
It's interesting you say that, Chris, because actually there are quite a number of wildlife parks in Kent, and there's more tigers than you might imagine.
Do you know what? I've heard that before. It's
Yeah, so have I. I don't know where I've heard it from, but somewhere.
Bloody BBC repeat.
Exactly.
Do we have any idea how the tiger got there?
No, I think there's a woman, she's a sculptor, she sculpted it. She said it's been there 20 years. So I imagine that somebody went for a walk near their house where they hadn't been before, and they came across it, and there it was. But it's not a surprise, really, because I don't know if you know this, but it's actually there's a surprising number of tigers in Kent because there's a number of wildlife parks.
I think I'm getting a bit of echo on my earpiece.